Okay, Algebra 1, so welcome to lesson 11. I'm just going to start right away. This is slide number 6. So these are operations in words. So when I say operations, the word operations means like a math operation. So we're talking about adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, or the equal sign, okay? So these are the words here that mean to add with some being the most popular. That's why it's bolded, okay? These are the words that mean subtract, with difference being the most popular. To multiply, uh, all of these with of and product being two of the most popular. Divide, divided by, and quotient being the most popular. And then equal is like a big one, right? So that's why it's bolded. It's the most popular one. And gives and totals and will be and were, all of those things. Okay, so make sure that you are copying this chart into your notebooks. Feel free to like turn your notebooks like sideways and give yourself enough space to have this. It's very important to have, especially for Friday's lesson. Now we have parentheses words. Parentheses words means that you have to distribute. Okay, so times the difference of, twice the sum of, and plus the difference of. Then we have those turnaround words, okay? So less than and from switch the order. So I just also want you to know that less than and from are also categorized as subtraction, okay? So these words are important because they switch the order. The rest of these words, they don't necessarily switch the order, okay? So with that being said, I'm just gonna go right into slide number 7, but I'm gonna try to keep my chart up here, okay? Well, I'll use it as a reference, okay? So in slide number, here we go, slide number 7, we want to create equations from statements. Now, we cannot do that without this chart, which is why it's so important to write. So after watching this video, please make sure that you take notes on everything that we've done here. And for extra credit, when you upload the work, if you solve it, we'll give you some additional points, okay? So we'll start. So I have 3 less than x is equal to 13. So I'm going to start by underlining, okay? So the 3 is a number, so I'm going to write the 3 right on top. X is a variable, and then I know that is equal to represents the equal sign, okay? And then I have another number here, which is 13. Now, as I mentioned, less than is a turnaround word. What does that mean? So if I were to write this, right, less than is subtraction. So if I were to write this at the moment, it would look like this. If I just transcribed it right on top. 3 less than x is equal to 13. However, since the word less than is used, not like difference, x and 3 have to be flipped. So the correct answer for this would be x minus 3 equals 13, which makes sense, right? 3 less than x is equal to 13, okay? The product of 9 and m is 45. The product of, that's one operation, okay? 9 and m. So it looks like I have to multiply two things, 9 and m. Is, which is equal to 45, okay? So when I have the product of something, there's two ways I could write it. I could write it as this way, as 9 times m, or the way that we prefer is 9m, okay? The product of 9 and m, 9 times m, okay, is 45, so that would equal to 45. One and done, y'all. Let me box this so that you know what the answers are. Okay, next example. A number divided by 6 is 18. So when I don't know what the number is, I have to create the variable, okay? So if I have anything, I'm just gonna assume x. A number divided by, so that means division, 6 represents equals, and 18. Now I realized I said I would use the chart, so I'm just gonna pause for a second because I did 2 examples, right? So here I did 3 less than, and remember that less than is that turnaround word, okay? Equal to, his is here, and equal is right here. Obviously the word that represents the sign, right? And then here we have the product of, So product and of, which means to multiply, okay? And now we're on divided. So here we see divide is divided by, okay? So a number divided by 6 is 18. So there's two ways that you guys can write this. Sorry about that, okay? You could write this as x divided by 6 equals 18. Or if you're looking to get some more points, a fraction is division. You could write this as x over 6 equals 18. And then feel free to go right ahead and solve that, okay? So for the division ones, we'll take these two examples, okay? And then finally, a number, as we discussed, plus 17 is 25. A number, so we just assume x, plus 17 means equal. So that would be x plus 17 equals 25. And again, I'm flying through this because I'm aware of like what the words, what operations mean in terms of words, but you are looking at this chart heavily for your homework, okay? Make sure you write it down. Now, we created equations from statements. Now, what about if it was the reverse? What about if we had the equation and we had to create the statement? Let's find out, okay? So we have 7 plus y equals 1, okay? So we have a number, which is 7. We have the addition symbol. We have the variable y, and then equals 1, okay? So let's look at add. You can literally say any of these things, but you can keep it simple, right? Because I've seen some before, I'm going to use increase by just to get a little fancy. So I'm going to say 7 increased by a letter is 1. Or I should not write the number, actually. I'm going to write the word. Okay, I want you guys to write the words entirely. So understand that increase by means to add. So 7 increased by a letter, which is indicative of my y, is 1. Now, a couple things. You could say a different word other than increase by. That was just my choice. And then a letter, you could have said y also, okay? Let's move on to the next one. We have 2x plus 3 equals y, okay? Well, I know that 2 is multiplying with x. That's the only way that the number and the letter can be together. Adding 3, and that equals to y. So what words mean to multiply? Let me get rid of this paper in here. Okay. Product times multiple, twice, and triples. Okay, well, I know twice means to multiply by 2. So I'm just going to get fancy. Okay. Twice a number or twice a letter. Now, plus 3. Let's go to add. I'm going to say, you could say plus, or you could say more, or you could say increase by, or sum. Actually, I'm just going to say increase by again. Twice a letter increased by is y. Okay. Now, the reason why I said a letter and then y is because in this equation, I have 2 different letters. So I just want to be careful to distinguish that, okay? So this first x could be any variable or just x as I've shown in the examples. And then it's equal to y, so you want to be sure that you state that, okay? Now it looks like we have a parentheses. And remember your parentheses word, right? Times the difference of, twice the sum of, and plus the difference of. Well, it looks like in this example, twice the sum of makes the most sense because I'm not only multiplying this parentheses by 2, but there's also addition going on the inside. So I'm going to say twice the sum of m and 2 is 8. And let's just read that back, okay? Twice the sum, twice, so that means I'm multiplying its parentheses, right? That's a parentheses word, of m and 2, because that is what's adding on the inside, is 8. I could also say equals 8. Okay? You don't have to be married to one specific word. Just make sure it makes sense. Okay? B minus 12 equals 15. Now, in this last example, right? 3 less than x. Okay? That's a turnaround word. Here you have the same situation. You can use a turnaround word or you can use something else. So let's do difference, right? Or we could say decrease by, okay? B decreased by 12 is or equals 5, okay? So this is just like this, again, like this video is just to show you how to use, like how to go from equation to statements and statements to equations, okay? And again, this is gonna be kind of like your list that you refer to all year long, right? Especially when we move on to word problems. So just make sure that you have taken the notes from slides 7 and 8 and that you have this checklist, this whole entire grid in your notes. And when you're uploading, we wanna see this uploaded as well, okay? Hope that helped, guys.